Hello everyone, it's Brett here, Lionheart84, and I'm doing a quick refresher video today on pinching figs and the likely outcome of pinching and how you do it and why and what purpose it serves in this country and our climate. Now, there seems to be quite a lot of confusion with people over here when we're talking about figs. The difference between Braber and main crop figs. Now, if you saw my video the other day, when I say saw my video the other day, I'm probably going to put that one out later because it's going to be an update on the Brabers on this, and I want to put this video out straight away because it's about pinching, and the sooner it comes out the better. But basically, when you've got figs in this country, you have two types of fig crop. You have the Braber figs, which are these. Now, a Braber fig is a fig that develops on last season's wood, last season's growth. Basically, the figs overwinter in the nestling up against the stems, somewhat like that, over the winter months, and they survive the cold, and they start growing in the spring at the same time that the buds of the new shoots start to come out. And they are known as Braber figs because they are the early season or first season figs which we can normally reliably get in this country, but it does depend on variety because some figs are not good Braber producer. This particular one is, I believe, a Longdu, the variety, and these three figs here are all Brabers, and as I'm filming this on the 11th of June, they are developing at the moment very nicely and haven't fallen off, and they are quite likely to be ready probably early to mid-June. I would say they're 3 to 4 weeks from being ready. Now, the main crop figs, if you get them on your fig tree, are figs that develop on the current season's growth. Now, you can see here these shoots are the current season's growth, and they are about a foot long at the moment, so they're making good progress because we had no damage this year from the cold, so the Braber figs weren't killed by late frosts and the new shoots weren't frosted. But as you can see, there are currently no figs whatsoever on the new growth. Now, it's quite clear that some people don't have a good understanding of their figs in this country, and to be honest, it makes no difference as long as you get figs, who cares. But I noticed on my Facebook in the UK Fig Growers group that one gentleman posted in mid-May that he's got an amazing crop of main crop figs on his fig tree this year, even better than last year, and it's covered in main crop figs. That is absolutely impossible. What his fig tree is covered with, because it's outdoors, it could not be covered in main crop figs in the middle of May because the new growth is only just starting to grow and it won't have developed any new figs on it at all. What he is looking at is large quantities of Brabers that, because they're probably ready on his plant in July or August, he thinks are main crop figs, but they are not main crop figs. So the reason I'm going to talk about pinching today is it is possible. It's practiced in a lot of climates and it does work for me over here. It is possible to force your figs to produce or start earlier production of main crop figs than they would do if left to their own devices. So what I'm going to try and show you is the difference between pinching for main crop figs and pinching which just results in more bushiness and side shoots, which isn't a bad thing because obviously it's the new growth, this new growth here, that at the extremities of it, the tips in the autumn, will produce your Brabers for overwintering for these fruits next year. So I should better show you on this shoot here if I pull it down. This is a typical new season's growth on this tree. this particular shoot hasn't had any brabers on it, or more likely it had brabers. Probably here where you can see these scars, it probably had brabers and they've dropped off, because the brabers quite regularly do drop off. You only get a certain percentage make it to maturity, but I can show you on this plant here because it's quite easy to see. When you look in the leaf axils, you will see that some leaf axils have what appears to be a double bud. As you can see, there's an ant protecting the fig. I think it's milking aphids. That one too, there, has got a double bud on it. And if we go further up the shoot to here, this one has only got a single bud on it. Now, if you have double buds that you can see on your new fig shoots, one of those buds will develop into an embryo fig or main crop fig, and one of those buds will develop into a side shoot. So if you pinch the tips or prune the tips off your fig at the right time, you can get these buds to start developing into embryo figs quicker than they would. Now, if I leave this to its own devices, this will start to produce main crop figs on here. They will start to develop into recognisable figs probably in about a month's time. Now, the problem we have with this country is, if you're in a warm climate such as the Mediterranean or a lot of the warmer states of America, because they have very hot summers, it takes about 90 days for most varieties from appearance of the embryo fig to a ripe main crop fig. It's triggered by, basically, the development and speed of development is triggered by heat. Now, in our climate with cooler summers on the whole, the figs here, I found, tend to take between 100 and 110 days. There will be some varieties that are quicker developing and perhaps produce smaller figs that might produce figs in 90 days, but basically I found 100 to 110 days. So if you get main crop figs that only start to develop at the end of July, they will not make it to maturity, because that would take us into the end of October, early November, and normally the cooler weather stops them developing. However, what we've found, what's been found out by growers in America in particular, that if you pinch these shoots out, which have got the double buds, the embryo figs will start growing almost within a week, and that means that from about the time of pinching, we will get, we should get virtually edible figs in about 100 days. So if I was to pinch this shoot out now, and it does develop as it should do, we could have main crop figs on this by the end of September, which means the weather's still warm enough for them to develop. So basically, when you're looking at pinching, when you see that double bud, you normally count at least 1, 2, and if you like 3 buds past that, and then you can pinch that shoot out. Now, it's likely that this bud here will develop into a side shoot, which is fine, and this one might. Now, this isn't 100% guaranteed. You might get embryo figs develop at these points, but that one here and that one here, and probably this one here we can't see because there's some bird mess on it, probably embryo figs should start coming out of here and be recognisable within 2 to 3 weeks. So what I will do is I will do a follow-up on this one, because this is the 11th of June. I should probably look at this again in 2 weeks and see what's happening. Now, if you pinch out shoots that have not got double buds on, like this one here for example, when you pinch the tip off this shoot, it's effectively like pruning it. Basically, all that will do is, if I can just snap that off, not easy with one hand, this shoot here will probably just develop side shoots on it. Now, that's not a bad thing, because firstly it keeps the plant more compact and bushy, but also those new shoots that develop will, as I said, carry the embryo figs at the end of the season, which should last over the winter and give you your braver figs for next year. Now, just a word of caution: when you pinch these shoots, you will get a lot of sap come out because the sap is flowing at the moment, and for some people this sap is extremely irritating, even more so on warm sunny days, and you get it on bare skin. So you may wish to do this with gloves. Obviously I've pinched them off quickly with my bare fingers, but I didn't get any sap on my fingers. But you might prefer, when you're doing it, to do it with gloves on. Now this one here, interestingly, I can't clearly see double buds on there, but I'm going to pinch it out anyway because I don't want this shoot growing out any further. So I'm going to pinch that off there, and you can see immediately how the sap bleeds out. I'm going to pinch that one anyway because it's coming over my pathway, and the same with this one here. I don't want this shoot any longer, so although it's not clear, actually that one has got a double bud on it. So if I pinch this shoot, not only should it encourage the bravers to grow, it should also develop main crop figs on here, which I should, as I said, by pinching now early in June, there's a good chance of getting some main crop figs on this by the end of September. Now the problem is, if you're in a colder part of the country and your figs are not growing this far, if you wish to pinch out the tips like that, you can, but there's no way of guaranteeing that you're going to get main crop figs on your plant. I might not get main crop figs on my plant, but it helps. Now the other problem you've got is that will work on a mature tree like that, and I will probably in the next couple of days spend a lot of time going around pinching as many shoots as I think is possible, because I don't want it to get bigger anyway, so it does restrict the size of the plant. But you cannot presume that if you've got little plants like this in pots, these young plants, these figs are probably not capable of producing figs. They might produce one or two. So even if I look at this variety here, and you can see it's only got a single bud visible in that leaf stalk, all of these are single buds. Now what that means is this is a very immature plant. This is actually this is a Peter's Honey. It's a young immature plant, so it's probably not ready to produce figs yet. Now you could pinch these tips out and you might conceivably get figs on it, but given the size of the plant, it's probably not worth it. But some varieties do respond to this behaviour a lot better than others. This one here I think is an unknown, known as an unknown large red. Looking at the buds there, can't always tell. That may or may not have two buds on it. Whether or not it's worth me pinching the shoots on this one to try and encourage fig development or branching out remains to be seen. But it is a young plant, and you can see it's actually got a braver on it there, which is somewhat deformed, so that probably won't be edible. It's probably not worth pinching out tips on immature plants. Looking at this one here, that looks like a double bud to me. So for a bit of fun, I might just pinch that one out, about 3 leaves past the bud. I might just pinch that one out for a bit of fun, just to see what happens. Can't remember what particular variety this one is. Might be my Verdone. They're a bit close together, so I can't easily tell. But in any case, that is the theory behind pinching. If you do it on more mature plants and you can see the double buds, it should encourage main crop figs to develop earlier than if you left the shoots to grow naturally. They'll still produce those main crop figs, but the problem is if they don't start developing until July, that's going to take you into the end of October, and by then it's probably going to be too cold for the figs to develop to maturity. So it's a way of attempting to force your figs into earlier main crop production, and it does work on this particular large fig, or has worked for me. Last year I had a good run of main crop figs on it. You Again, you can clearly see double buds forming there. So I'm going to count 1, 2, 3 leaves, pinch the tip out. Let me just show you what I'm going to do. Pinch the tip off that one, the shoot underneath it. Again, double buds there. Count 3 leaves past it, pinch the tip off, and that should see me with some main crop figs on this plant. Although it's going to depend a bit on the summer as well. If we get a particularly hot summer, the figs will grow faster. If we get a very cool, wet summer, the figs may grow slower, so it is dependent on climate as well. But I promised a few people that I would to do a refresher on fig pinching, obviously, and the purpose it serves. Obviously I have done them before, but if you haven't looked at my old videos, you probably won't have seen them. Anyway, thank you for watching the video. I hope it's been of some interest to you. If you haven't seen a video about this before, at least not a UK video, because obviously there are quite a few American fig growers that do a lot of fig pinching, but it works better in their hot climate. Please give me a thumbs up. You're welcome to share the video if you think it might be of interest to anybody who's attempting to get main crop figs here. Please subscribe to my channel. And of course, if you want to get updates on this tree and if this is successful this year, I will be making update videos on it about 4 weeks apart. So click the bell so that you know when those videos come out. I'll catch up with you all soon. Brett out for now.